Hey, what's up, guys? We are back, and it's another episode of Landscaping to the Point with me, JC down below me, and Josh over the other side. The AI computer kind of crashed, but we still got his audio voice, so he is still here. He's not till we get the audio back on off and get the video. It's been a real crazy last week trying to get the AI voice and video back to normal. So, but welcome everybody back to the show. It's been a while. It's been over a week because last week you guys had some snow.
Yeah, we had a lot.
Some major snow.
Major snow.
Major snow. What did you guys get? Because we got literally probably 2 inches out of that, if that. So what did you guys get?
Times 10.
Times 10?
Times
Holy
10.
crap. See, that's one of the things, and I've kind of watched stuff from what you guys have had and all that, that much snow. I don't think I could handle 20 inches. Like I've done 16 inches, but 20 inches, that's a lot of snow, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we had it. It was tough because we had it back to back the last couple of weeks before that, and yeah, it's been quite a bit. Josh will tell you
when he's finally off of his.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. Yeah, it's been. It was. I think it was like 3. 60. What was it, like 3 feet or something? I think it was like 3 feet combined. With like 2 of the big storms and then like a couple of small ones in between. But the thing that's different this year than most is the temperatures. So when we got away, the first big one was like really fluffy. So it was easy to plow and shovel. This one was wet and heavy, this last one. But the one thing that I don't remember having for a long time is snow fall and stay for the entire winter. Typically, we'll get like 20 inches. Well, we don't really get 20 inches. We'll get like a foot, and it'll be gone within like a week.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, it warms up. Like you'll get 30, 40 during the day. This is the first year in a while that the temps have been so cold that it actually stays.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing that it's done that, because it's like, I don't know. Like you said, it's been a long time that we've had snow this much, and this year we've had more snow than we've had in the last 4 years combined. So, I mean, I know you guys have had a lot more snow too. So it's like, is it a sign of change or is it not? Is everything going to change snow wise, or do you think it's going to be like this all the time?
I think it's just in the pattern. We were due for a decent winter. I still don't think. I have to look at WeatherWorks, but I don't think we're like crazy over our total. I don't think we've hit our average. My area in Merrimack Valley, I think, is around like 60. Usually we get roughly about 40. We might be like in the 36 in 2 weeks. We had a few things in December, so we're probably just under probably just under 60, 55 or so.
Hopefully that's it. I know Rhode Island got record-breaking numbers.
Dude, they got destroyed.
Yeah, I think was it 33 or 37 they got in one shot?
They got 36. Yeah, 36 to 37. We're close to 48-inch wind drifts, if not higher,
in one storm.
But here's the big thing: that was concrete. That wasn't light, fluffy snow. So that's a lot of fucking snow. So you figure if the temps were colder, that would have been close to like 6 feet of snow. If it was just a bit colder. So that was the problem they had, was that the Rhode Island and south of Boston doesn't really see snow anymore. Typically it's too warm. Like guys on the Cape, a lot of guys got out of snow plowing because they just weren't seeing it. They were getting maybe 20 inches a year. So a lot of the municipalities had gotten rid of their big rigs, and this type of snow, it was coming down. You had some banding that was going on like 3-4 inches an hour. They couldn't keep up with it, so it got to the point that the plow's going to do nothing. So they let it go. I mean, they were getting 90-mile-an-hour gusts. It was 4 inches an hour. Like that was insane. I didn't obviously wasn't around Blizzard of '78, but they're comparing it to that. But yeah, I mean, it was the type of snow where you need skids and front end loaders to come in without pushers, just buckets to scoop, back up, stack it up. So, and they're still
Right.
digging out. There's still streets that haven't been touched.
Yeah, they're still trying to transport snow from because they can't put it anywhere.
That's the thing that's a lot, dude. That they're gonna have to like get rid of. Don't you? Like, what do you do with all that snow? Like, Josh, you guys had lots of the snow. Are you guys dumping it in the ocean, in the river? Where are you guys doing with it?
Rhode Island and Fall River, Mass. Just push that they can dump it into the rivers.
Okay.
So they got so much snow because the snow farms. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, we had a snow farm, our 2014, 2015. We had a snow farm that didn't melt till the end of July. That was a 100-inch winter.
Crazy.
Wow.
They just got bombed. So you're talking tri-axles and trailers left and right, dumping and dumping and dumping. So I think they get to the point where like they couldn't push it back far enough. So they're letting guys dump in the river.
Wow. That's just amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That's got to be I can just imagine it, but you guys got close to it. So, like, that's a lot, from gathering from everybody that's out there, like you guys and, Alex Carey, dude, I know you guys have been at it for days and it's just, it's got to be brutal on you guys.
I think Alex Carey I don't know where he is down there, but I think him and Paul Camara got the worse than us. They were right in the heart of it. So
yeah, it was funny because I was watching Alex's. He kept on posting stories on his Instagram, and it's just him, just driving like in the middle of the storm, and it's just all you see is snow everywhere. Like I have no idea how he did that.
I don't know either. Like it's one of those things. Is like when you go out like on a snowstorm like that, when it gets thick like that, do you just keep plowing? Do you just plow the roads and everything just to get to job, or what? Because half the streets are going to be cleared. So
so they call it state of emergency in most of the New England states. So they had a travel ban, but obviously there's always dickheads that won't stay off the road and cause the issue. But if you're a plow guy, like we get to the point where we had some banning that went on that I just told my guy, stay where you are until it breaks up.
Right.
It's not worth getting stuck on the road,
No, it isn't. So, at that point, it's like you said, do you leave your guys just at certain jobs and say, okay, you just take care of this till, half the snow's gone. And, at least this one's going to be totally perfect and ready to go, in the morning. It's one of those things. It's like, how do you maintain and keep going on that stuff?
I'd say me and my guys killed it. Like, not to toot our own horn, but what we did early on is we didn't wait. We started scraping almost immediately when it was like an inch and a half on the ground, and just kept tackling it. Like we didn't let up. So by the time we were getting that big banding, it was maybe 2-3 inches that fell, and as soon as it broke up, we were back out and just tagging it nonstop.
Right.
I think that's the best thing to do. Like literally, yeah. Why wait on when something's coming in that bad? Why wait? Why be a company that's going to sit back and say, okay, I'll just wait till it's done.
But what those coastal guys were getting, those Scott, like 4 inches an hour and 70 to 90 mile an hour winds, and like you're talking like 4 inches an hour of like heavy wet snow. That's right. Like, again, you need a loader. You can't push that on the road.
No, you can't. No.
Yeah, you need a front end loader, or you need a skid steer to either with a wing plow or with a scooper for you, and that was the problem. Guy, like I told you, all the city plows gave up because they couldn't do anything.
Right. Yeah. It had to be bad, dude. It had to be brutal. Yeah. I haven't seen that. There was a spot I think it's in Boston or something. It popped up on my feed that a plow truck fell into a sinkhole, and if one of the water main broke, and it flooded a couple of streets.
I wouldn't doubt it. I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
It popped up on my feed, and it was like these people all around the neighborhoods were pissed because not only were you guys getting tons of snow, but like everything was flooding because of the water main break. And it was like, what do you do at that point, you know? And it was a city truck that was trying to plow the street and fell right into the hole.
Yeah.
So,
Probably half asleep.
Probably.
Yeah, that woke him up real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt he probably just hit the fire hydrant. Probably is probably what he did, and it probably flooded and made a sinkhole. Probably, but who knows?
I will tell you, if you have the equipment or the ability to rent the equipment, and you have the drive, for a lot of guys, south of Boston, Rhode Island, this is like business changing. If you could withstand this, like a lot of guys that could go and bail a lot of customers out, made substantial money. And not to mention, they probably secure themselves some decent contracts for next year.
Good point.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Definitely.
I told you guys, like we had a national call us on a Walmart for the sidewalks.
Okay.
We're from my shop. It's like an hour and 40-minute ride. We put a $15,000 price tag on it with 1,600 linear feet of walkway and $15K, and they accepted it.
It's crazy, right? Because it's like you kind of can name your price at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing is like again, it's a lot of fucking snow. You got to expect something's gonna break and it's gonna cost you money, but you want to be protected. So listen, I'll tell you, my original number wasn't that high, and I said, you know what, if we're gonna go down, we're gonna make fucking money. So I put a lot more on the number, and they came back and they were like, all right, proof. Okay. And I know the company. I've done a lot of work with the company, so I know we would have got paid. Guys are actually doing that tomorrow. So
wow. And now, are you doing that with like a skid steer or
skid steer and blower attachment for the skid steer?
Okay, yeah. Are they wide enough for that or?
Well, no matter. The one we're renting it from United at 66 inches, so it's getting 66-inch clear cut. So
those nice machines.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Make quick work of it. Quick work of it.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna make it not a problem at all. Like I think you're gonna go through that pretty fast too. So
yeah, a lot of guys are getting FEMA work out of it. That's big. Again, like if you got a skid steer, ain't even gotta be new. It could be old piece of shit. You can make some serious dough.
Yeah.
Residential and commercial. You'll probably have work for weeks.
Right. Wow. So after that, are you totally done with everything?
I mean, we're done with all our stuff.
Right.
And that's kind of the last thing. So yeah, I think for now, just some salting iron from the melting, the melting refreeze up here. But we're pretty much, I'd say that's the end of it. We get some forecasted warm weather next week.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad you guys kicked it out and you and your guys knocked it out of the park, dude. I mean, like I said, it's got to be brutal on you guys. I mean, I commend you guys for all doing it and everybody that's out there, that's been doing it for even 3 days straight, dude. That's a lot of work and a lot of time put into it. So,
the crazy part is I have a sedan, right? It's my daily driver, and I survived the winter with no snow tires on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't believe that either, but that's good, dude. Like, it's got to be hard for both you guys up there and just anybody that's in that area, dude, that's getting that kind of snow and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, okay. So you guys are good on snow now. You're hoping for total meltdown as soon as possible so you can get out there and get ready to go, right, Josh?
Not total. I mean, I'm excited for it, but we want to set things up. So that's definitely gonna melt, but I need to get things ready and finalize some contracts. But yeah, we're ready to go. I mean, I'm over the cold.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, you're outside walking your dog.
yeah. Listen, I went out thinking, hey, it was nice out today. Let me go on a long ass hour-long walk, and yeah, that bit me in the ass. I'm ice skating out here right now.
Oh, well, at least you got ice instead of snow. So that's a good thing. And, that can be always salted, as long as you guys got salt. So that's the main thing.
Oh, that's a whole nother thing. That's up and down and back and forth.
It's been that way for like the last couple months. So it's like, what is new,
Yeah, it's just, it's fucking annoying, Yeah. It really is fucking annoying.
So now do you think that, the government kind of overtook salt this year.
Yeah, I mean, what pisses me off is one blizzard, one substantial snowfall, 2 feet, and these fucking idiots are out there dropping salt like it's fucking free. In
Right.
the middle of the storm, they're throwing salt down. I get I get they have a system of doing it, but it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Like I'll tell you what, it's really crazy, Josh, because it, like you said, you've seen them throwing salt down. We got that 10 inches a while back, and I'll tell you what, they didn't salt hardly anything for the whole time. And this last snowstorm we got last week, which was close to 2 inches, they salted the whole time. It was like they just found the salt and just, we're just going to drop salt everywhere. And it was like, what are you doing? Like, where did you get this salt? Yeah. Are you trying to get rid of your salt pile now? Like that you had sitting,
It's fucking crazy. And it's funny because it went like we couldn't get our bins full, so we had to use middleman suppliers. And we were like subject to like it went up a few bucks at first, but it was like 1 yard per customer per day. So you're bouncing from like vendor to vendor to try to find it. And then it went up when everybody cleared. It went up from like $1.75 for straight, $1.50, $1.75 straight, for like two and a quarter.
Wow.
Not horrible, but still, like, not planned for, especially like I said, things have been cold, so they've been freezing up a lot easier. But then you got people like I'm seeing guys in fucking Michigan and Buffalo, like fucking $400 a fucking ton. Like, you're out of your mind.
Oh yeah.
Like at that point, honestly, like it's cold enough. I would do what the guys in like Montana, Alaska do and go get the chip stone and start slinging that just for traction,
Right.
Like I had talked to I had texted Mike Bedell because I was seeing the prices, and I guess he went 100% liquid.
Wow.
And got out of salt because it was costing so much and this constant salt shortage and
there's a lot of companies that were around us. We're starting to get it from Tennessee, down in Tennessee around Louisville and Kentucky, and then a place down in Tennessee. And they were still paying $160 a ton, but then they were paying trucking fees. So by the time you pay the trucking fees, you're right back up to $260, $360 a ton. So is it worth it, to do that? But I know you need to have it. So that's where it's like, what do you do at that point? So
Josh, how's the liquid been working out for you this year? Because I know it's kind of you've been doing it a lot more.
Yeah, it was fair. We did all our pre-treats as liquid, and it worked out great. The post-treating we tried a few times. Specifically on a lot, it gets a little bit of pack because we use a rubber edge. So we usually have like between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of pack, and it melts it, but it makes such a mess. It's just I can't hard to describe it. Like the slush is just so thick from it. Rather than salt, salt kind of dissolve. Like I don't know, salt seems to kind of dissolve and dry it up. We used it for a post treat, and it wasn't there. Now, mind you, we're using I'm using an electric setup, so it's a little different than a gas powered. So I would like to see post treating on gas power because you're supposed to use between 80 and 120 gallons per acre. So I like, again, unless I'm going a mile an hour, I can't really put down 100 to 80 gallons per acre. I can usually do the pre-treat, which is 40 gallons to 60 gallons per acre, and that seems to do good. We had 2 sites. We put it down on a pre-treat on 2 inches. It burned off the first 1/2 inch, but the scrape was so much nicer. And even the post treat, we used like half the amount of salt. So it definitely saw some need for it this year. So I'm probably gonna look into a cheaper gas unit for next year. The VSIs, 2 years ago, a year ago, I got a quote for I think it was like 17,000.
Wow.
On the VSI, I'm gonna call it the 300 gallon. The gas unit. So not really looking to spend that much into it yet unless things change, but it definitely saves some coin on the pre-treat. 100%. Like I see the benefit of cutting that 30% salt usage out with it.
Right. Wow. That's that's a. I mean, it could be a plus, and it could be a, like you said, a kind of a sloppy mess. I mean, if it continued to go,
I did use straight brine, and then I used magic. So
okay,
I did use both.
okay,
And obviously the magic worked a little better on the
right,
fruit shoots, but the regular brine works fine. We again on a couple of the post applications, it did kind of warm up, and the moisture content was a little bit more than I would have liked. So that also factored into the slush factor
okay,
rather than being, on the fluffy stuff. It does good on the if it's too cold with the regular brine, you don't really get the effect on the pre-treat or the post-treat. You kind of
okay,
have to have that sweet spot for it.
right,
And that's
yeah,
really what it is. It's dialing in. And it is challenging to dial in when you're running electric, right?
right, yeah. I think that's one of the hardest things to do is to get it dialed in totally correct. It's just kind of like putting regular salt down too. Sometimes you got to get it totally dialed in, or otherwise
Yeah.
you're putting way too much or not putting enough down. So
Yeah, the brine, you're doing the math with the idea that everything's working perfect, that the pump's perfect, pumping out the right gallons per minute, that the nozzles are clean, that they're not getting residue in them. And we would notice the difference of like, hey, a couple of the nozzles were clogging out, so we might have not been getting that 40 gallons per acre
right,
that we needed to put down. You would see it in certain spots on lots.
okay, wow, yeah, that's
busy,
a lot.
Busy winter.
Yeah, it seems like it's been busy for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean we've had a good amount this year, so I mean, that's always good. I mean, luckily we haven't run out of salt. I mean, a lot of guys have ran out of salt up here, but our supplier still has kept us, supplied because we're buying pallets. So, that's kind of helped me out a lot this year. So, because all the guys that have bulk are totally practically out. So, but yeah, been a busy year this year, guys. So, I'm ready for the spring and all the landscaping. Like I said before the start of the show, we're starting landscaping this week, which hopefully this rain holds off because we got some rain coming in, and so that'd be a plus if it definitely holds off for us. But
what are you catching up on?
Right now I'm still doing contracts, getting the contracts out, and we are finishing up two houses. We picked up another house that we put in a floor today. So that'll make 3 floors we did this week. And we got a little bit of painting still left to go, and we're out of the houses that we're at. So just trying to get all that little maintenance stuff that we do during the winter done for people, and I'm ready to go. I got just talking to my wife the other day, I got like 4 cleanups from fall that we never got to because we got snow too early. So I'm ready to go for it because I know one of them was our plowing customer, and he was like, "Are you going to get to my fall cleanup when it stops?" And I'm waiting for him to call and say, "When are you coming to do this fall cleanup?" So that's one of the things I'm waiting for. But I wanted to kind of get out and start because we got a couple big landscaping jobs, so I wanted to get 2 of them out of the way if I could. One is just putting up some fencing, replacing some fencing for a customer, which should be no problem. And another one's building a big garden boxes for her. So wanted to get that built for her. So that way, when if we're going to get all this warm weather, she's going to want to start planting as soon as possible. So if I can get those boxes built for her and get them filled up, so that way she can get that stuff going, that'd be a plus for me. So
nice.
But yeah. All right, let's get into some scams. I've been getting a lot of scam emails, a lot of scam text messages. Josh seen my little post the other day, and he said I'm asking for $10.99 for my free advice. I'm not asking for no money for this free advice.
It's free advice once you pay the subscription fee.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay me a subscription, there's 3 of us, so at least $300, and we'll go ahead and get that subscription out to you for this free advice. But So I'm gonna read you one that literally came in earlier this week, and it kind of made me, I've been talking back and forth with this guy till Friday, and then I kind of stopped talking to him. So the guy asked, that he was looking for services in my area, and I said, okay, well, what area are you located, so I can find out if you're looking for services or not. And his reply was, I need you to maintain lawn mowing, edging, weed whacking, tree trimming, overseeding bi-weekly for 8 months. Hope you can handle that. When can you come out and assess the lawn? And here's the address. He gives the address. It's literally down the street from one of my other customers. So yeah, it's close to one of my customers. And I said, okay. I said, first off, I just want to let you know that we don't do bi-weekly. We only do weekly cuts. And I told him right away, like, we don't take checks. We only take credit card on file, and services will be charged after that. Because that's one of the things that a lot of people need to know is a lot of people want to give you checks. And yeah, there's older people out there that might be able to give you checks, but sometimes there's a lot of scams. They want to give you a check, and then they want you to pay somebody else and all that other stuff. And it can be a little more than what you really expect for. So, and so then he replies back, okay, sounds good. How much a cut? And I'm like, well, you wanted all these other services. What do you mean? Like, I'm kind of like confused at this point, and I said, well, I'll have to go out and look at it. And then I'll get back to you. And so then he replies back, and this is where finally, this was a reply back Friday before I went and looked at the property. It says, nice, feel comfortable inspecting the yard as I have the initial owner informed already, as I need to know I'm currently on a large business here in Hawaii, and I want everything done perfectly before getting back because I'm moving in with my family as soon as you're done.
Yeah, because he needs the lawn done before he can move in.
Right. And at the first email, kind of that first email area, he was saying like that, he needs it cut for 8 months. All this stuff done in 8 months. So I'm like, wait a minute, something ain't right there. Why are you asking for a property and somebody else already owns it? Like, kind of weird. So I drove by it and it was up for sale. So there's a lot of times where a lot of people will try to scam you, like I said, with checks, and the house is either vacant or it's for sale. And so when you go to these properties, a lot of times the people don't even know why you're looking at this. And then, they're going to ask you, what are you doing on their property? We never asked you to come out and give us a quote, and then you say, well, some guy said he's buying this house, and they'll be like, no, the house isn't, hasn't been sold yet. So, why would you still come out and give a quote? So a lot of times you just got to get their information, say you'll get back to them, and then definitely do some research. And that would be by checking with your county to make sure that who the house is owned by. And then, I would go to that house and definitely try to talk to the homeowner first before you even give a quote out to somebody that might not be even buying it, because you don't know what's going on at that point. I've had a couple other ones this year that, right away. I had one that literally earlier this year that asked right away was like, do you accept checks? I need lawn services ASAP. And I said, ASAP. It's, this was at the point where we just got that 10 inches of snow. And I'm like, how are we going to cut your grass right now when, and I was like, okay. I said, well, first off, I don't accept checks. And he goes, well, you sure? You're sure? You sure you can't
wait,
take
now that I think about it, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like,
why would I turn around and say, yeah, sure. I can take checks now. Yeah. I just thought, maybe I could go the other way.
I just forgot I took checks.
Yeah. And then I kind of was like, well, there's snow on the ground, so I don't think I'll be able to cut the grass this week, and never got an email back on that one. So, I think there's a lot there that you guys got to definitely take a look into, and make sure, because there's always that little wording that might get you off. Like, I need your services for just 8 months or just 6 months. And, and they're going to pay you by check, and, but nobody's there, so it kind of makes you wonder sometimes, there was another one too that was by text, And this is the exact words he said. And that automatically told me, okay, this is definitely a scam. And his words is that you can go look at the house. It's owned by my brother-in-law, but he's in the military and won't be back. So I want to take care of it so I can move into his house. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I said, well, what's your brother-in-law if he's there? And he goes, well, he might not be there, but I can't tell you his name. Just go just go over and look at it. It'll be okay.
I think his name is Steve.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I think it's not in my area. The guy never gave me an address or anything to go look at, first off. So I'm like, how do you know where I'm at, if I'm going to go look at it, if you didn't give me an address, first off? So, but yeah, you got to be leery of that guy sometimes. I know Josh has probably got tons of those that people have just, said, come look at my yard. And he just goes out and looks at it. I know Josh is the way he is.
Well, it's funny, the ones you're talking about, the boomerang scams,
Right.
I get those left and right for years. And usually what they do is they hit you up in the spring rush, so you're not paying attention. And I've gotten them before. In the beginning, you're right. I've gone out to look at them because I used to do like a lot of when I started out the property preservation for the HUD homes.
Right.
And you would get shit like that. And I got a funny story behind this, but the boomerang scams is what they do is they go out and usually they'll say something like, can you cut the grass? Or they'll start with, do you do tree work? Do you do sod? And typically it's a foreclosed home or it's pre-foreclosure or it's for sale. They'll use the houses. Usually just Google them now, you can see what they are. But what they do is they actually have you quote them. And then what they'll say is, hey, can you commit to that price? And they'll ask for a check or a credit card. And what that check or credit card does is anchor. So basically why they say boomerang is because they give you a check. That check somehow, it's a scam check. It just opens up the access, the tunnel to your bank account so they can clear out your bank account.
Right. And
so once you deposit that check or you make that credit card transaction, forget it. Like you're screwed.
Yeah. And I'm not going to be that person that's going to do that. I feel like you guys got to be all careful about it. Especially I'm kind of more leery now if I see a house up for sale,
But in the beginning, they're really swift about it because you can't really tell. And like you said, they'll be like, hey, we're taking care. My brother-in-law's away on a business trip. They had a baby. They'll carry on a conversation with you.
Right.
But the funny story behind that is I got a text that was very similar. It said, hey, Carbon Green Company, you guys do hydro seeding and grass installs. I'm like, yeah, here we go. So for a while, I was talking shit to the scammers. Like, oh, yeah, make sure your mom pays. Well, fucking whatever, my bullshit.
Right.
And going back and forth. And I'm kind of just like giving this guy a hard time. And he gives me the address and I look it up. I'm like, wait a second. So he texts, he's like, yeah, he set this up. He's like, you can go by. He goes, I work a lot. I won't be there. I'm like, what the fuck? So part of me, I don't know what it was. I went by, it was a legit fucking customer. That's just the way he was texting. And I'm like, God damn, I got the job. But I explained to him why I was kind of being a prick. I was like, the way you were texting is very similar to a lot of scams that go on. But exactly the wording that you just gave is on point. It doesn't change. Right. The service has changed. So it might be mowing. For us, it's usually, do you sod or do you hydro seed? Yeah. It's never usually a cleanup or mowing that I get. Tree work's a big one, but yeah, just don't give them any information.
Right. I think it's just funny because a lot of times it'll start out as like just one service and then they'll end up with like, I want 5 or 6 different services, and you didn't even tell them what kind of services you do, and it's like, a lot of times if I get a call from a customer or an email from a customer that's looking for a specific service, they're not saying, oh, well, what other services can you give me? They're just emailing like, hey, I just want mowing or I just want fertilization. And then when you go there, you can be like, okay, well, here's a quote for this. It's not like a text or an email where it's like, hey, I want one thing. And then it just pops into like, I'll take every one of your services, give me the price on it, and it's like, what? Well, wait a minute. Come on. Like, like
it's crazy that they get people, man, too. They get some businesses like that too, unfortunately, Well,
because what it is, JC, think about it, right? When you're in your spring rush and you're getting 10 to 20, 30 calls a day, you're not thinking about it. You're just trying to catch up with all those quotes. So yeah, you're like, and the way they do it, again, they carry the conversation, and it's not like robotic. You know what I mean? Where it's just kind of like, oh yes, please send this. They actually, it's someone on the line, legit trying to scam you.
Yeah, it's going to be AI pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are we gonna
You
do
know what's
then?
more? You know what's more annoying than that? Is I get the phone calls. Hey, is this Josh? Yeah,
All those,
Carbon Green. Yeah, it's like, hey, do you guys do patio installs? It's like, yeah. Can I interest you in some leads? So I'm like, go fuck yourself. I can't stand those ones. I'm like, why don't you just start with that? You piss me off even more by fucking the cold calling.
Oh yeah. Okay, I get this. I got another one too, Josh, for you. And I bet you've probably got this too. Is twice this year I've gotten from a couple companies. And so the one just recently last week asked me if I did landscaping, and and they wanted to sell me some leads. And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, how much are these leads?" And he goes, $75 a lead. And I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Is that for like if I sell the job, I got to pay you $75?" And the guy come back and he's like, "No, we give you the lead, you pay us." I said, wait a minute. I said, how do I know that they're going to want my service? First off, well, we get the information. There's qualified leads for you. I said, okay, first off, how do you qualify them? Well, we just virtually knock on their in their email saying that they, asking if they need services. And then they say, yeah. And then we'll give you the lead. I said, well, I'm still not paying you because how is it qualified? It's not truly qualified if you're not asking them all these questions for me and asking if they want services and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, they do want services. They want services. They really do. So all you have to do is pay us that $75 for each lead, and we'll get it, get you these leads. I said, no, that's all right. Thanks for, sending me all this information, but yeah, it's going to be a waste of my time. Like if you're going to send me like 12 leads and be like, okay, it's $750. Where's our money? Like, and there's going to be nobody that wants services. So I don't know if you've gotten those yet lately.
I mean, I get the lead generation services all the time. I usually just hang up on them or yell at them. I'm not a fan of that shit anyway. So once I hear leads, I'm usually fucking pissed off.
I don't know why anybody would pay a company to get leads for you.
Well, I have. I've used Angie's List because a buddy of mine that was a mason, and he did a lot of work on like the brownstones in downtown Boston. And he make really good money. He cleaned house with it. And I know a few HVAC guys have done really well. The thing about it, when I signed up for it, I spent a few thousand on it. And they promised us that we were going to be, it would be us and another company that would be the top pick to people, that would be like exclusive premier contractors, and that everybody else would fall in the tail under us, but we would get the option first. I was getting leads, and I'm the type of person to straight up ask, like, hey, how many people responded? And they would say, oh, 10 people responded. And one guy came out from Lynn, Massachusetts. Mind you, I remember this one specific was Methuen. Methuen to Lynn is like an hour and a half ride.
Right.
So it just shows you like they were out of their demographic of what they promised. I didn't make a single dollar off it. Thumbtack I used for a while, when I first, probably like my second or third year in business, and I ended up making like $100,000 off of Thumbtack by spending maybe like $500. And now it just gets ridiculous. They're like, I want to say like a landscaping install quote's probably like a lead's like $80-$90, but you can usually see how many people responded to them, and you'll get anywhere from like 12 to 17 guys responding. So it's not, I don't even bother. I cut those all out at this point.
Right. I feel like those Angie's and Thumbtack are just pushing for more and more companies to be part of it. Like you said, you're getting tons of, information from these people about the different prices too. So do you feel like AI will change that up and make it to where they're giving people out prices for stuff without you doing it?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's already there. Like they have software that like, you can measure out your yard and they give you a generalization. The only thing with this fucking industry, there's not like a general guideline of fucking labor costs,
Right.
So it's going to be all over the place.
Right. Now, do you use any of those like like the measuring, the lawn measuring, or Google to look at properties. Because I had a guy that literally had told me he's getting into the business, and he said he followed somebody on YouTube, and I'm not going to say who it is, probably one of the big influencers, but they use Google to measure everything, and they say that that's fine, and you can just go off of that, and just look at it, measure it, and then give them a price right there. And I told the kid, I said, dude, I'd rather go look at the yard, because a lot of times you can't see, like some of these backyards, you got a tree that's covering the whole backyard. How do you know what's the backyard, what's in the backyard? There could be a pool there. There could be, a garden. Who knows what you're getting into at that point? So
I've used I typically will use Google Earth
okay,
if I have to do a measurement, or if I'm double checking the measurement that I took. Like if I
right,
go out to do, say it's like a lawn install or a lawn renovation on a whole lawn, rather than sit there and measure it, I'll usually just pull up my laptop and go on Google Earth and get the general. Um, I will use that to vet too, like if I'm sitting in my office and someone calls. And then one idea, like on a lawnmower or something, I'll bring it up, I'll measure it, and like you said, you can't always get the huh? 17, 10, 10. Sorry. The where was I going with that? Oh
no,
yeah, you can't always see the backyard of the yard, depending, like if you get a
right,
real rural area, you'll never know. So at that point we usually say, hey, we start lawnmower at $80 a yard. I can come out
right,
and give it a look. Now when it comes to like more intricate high cost projects, I'll use takeoff software. I use House Pro.
okay,
And they have a takeoff software in there where I can upload the property to scale
okay,
and measure it out that way and get real accurate with what I want.
okay.
And I
Well,
use that on like the new development bids and everything.
right. That's good. Yeah, I think that's good for a new development where you have nothing there that you can't. I feel like sometimes when you have more obstacles, you can't always tell where the obstacles are, and if it's like I said, a big tree or something, or if they updated stuff, how are you gonna know sometimes?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And you
that's one.
can't trust the MLS listings either, because
No,
they always try to make the pictures look bigger of the backyards. And I
yeah,
used to do that and give a quote. Then you drive by it and you go, oh man, the yard's like fucking 2 acres small than I thought based off the picture. So that's
right,
why I do try to use Google Earth. You usually can get an idea, and you
okay,
can put them in the ballpark and just say, hey, listen, my minimum on doing this project or this type of work is this. If you're still interested, I can come out. I
right,
try not to go out as much.
right. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I get that the whole situation. I mean, I'm more the guy that I'd rather look at it too. Look at it, trying to find out the square footage for like fertilization or something. Yeah, I mean, I see the benefit of it. Measuring out the full yard and stuff and that. But when it comes to mowing and stuff, I like to go out and measure it. Look at it myself and say, okay, this is
Yeah.
going to be good for me. Or not, because like I said, there's sometimes you pull up to a house after you sold it, and oh, it's only got a 20-inch gate, and the backyard's 2 acres. How the hell am I going to mow this? So
Or they just installed a driveway in the middle of
right,
the
Yeah.
property.
A
driveway to
pool or
garage,
something in
and
the
you're like, okay,
backyard.
yeah. How am I going to get around this? So yeah, there's pluses and there's negatives to that them programs, and I think that it can be a plus and sometimes it can be a negative, but who knows? I think if more AI comes involved into it, I think they're gonna try to eliminate people going out and doing that stuff, and a lot of companies I think are already trying to push that way. So who knows? Who knows how it's gonna go from here on out? But like you said, Josh, the labor for everybody is so off the charts that how are you gonna get it totally perfect? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's so hard.
Right,
Even like the same cities and towns, you got guys that are like 70% difference in labor costs.
right, yeah, yeah. I mean, your drop rate could be 85, and mine could be 75,
Yep.
or 65, and it's like, how is AI gonna adjust for that? That it's not, it's gonna try to probably pick the middle, and you're gonna be like, oh, wait a minute, why why am I getting charging less for this project than I should? So Yeah. Now, Josh, do you use any, like, your estimating software? Are you estimating everything yourself, or are you using a software that'll estimate all the, to your liking?
Basic resi,
Okay.
basic municipal stuff I do myself. Um, New construction, new development, I use that Sakeoff software, and
Okay.
I'm able to like type in my numbers, my labor rates, my materials usually saved in there. So again, like the way I can do it is like I can scale out and measure similar to what you would do in the area on Google Earth, and I can color code it, and it will give me my totals and lock everything in for me.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
So
So that,
basically, I just go in, I measure it out, say what it is, pick the
okay.
product, like Techo Block 260, black mulch, corrugated pipe, and I draw out the measurements. It measures it to scale, and
Okay.
I'll get my total right there. It's a little
Okay.
easier.
Okay. Now you
I
put
mean,
your numbers in there.
you're talking major though. Like these are jobs that are like 250K or bigger.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can see that because and now has it ever backfired on you where you bid on one of those jobs using that program and came out
No.
to where you're higher?
Um, the only one I was completely nervous on was we didn't get it. It was a $3 million bid,
Okay.
probably one of the bigger ones I've written, and I was a little nervous with that one. But no, like when I went back and double checked the numbers, it was fine. Again,
Okay.
like those jobs, you're only getting like you're only getting to the finals maybe out of like 30 estimates, maybe 5 times.
Okay.
And maybe closing one or two of those jobs, but
Right.
they take a long time to do, and that's why they take so long to do. That you do have to take your time. You have to make sure your scale's correct. Like what you upload. You like usually what I do is I have a blueprint company in the city I
Mm-hmm.
live in, and
Okay.
I'll take it over to them just to make sure the scale's right. I'll measure it myself. I have had a few times where the scales are off by like a half an inch, and I'll have them rescale it to size,
Okay.
and then upload everything that way.
That's probably the best thing to do, really. I mean, it saves you to make sure that it's totally correct on it too.
Well, again, you're talking somebody's paver job, minimum 30,000, 40,000 square
Right.
feet. So,
Right.
again, yeah, you could royally fuck up,
Yeah.
and you're not talking a few $100, you're talking tens of thousands of dollars. And
Yeah. And you don't
ours,
want to. You don't want to be at that point, anyways. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's one of the things is like you definitely got to make sure that you're pricing it right, especially on something big like that. Anytime it's something big, even with installs. I mean, you want to make sure that your prices are correct on that too. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, if you're off that little bit, you're definitely screwed in the long run, especially at the end of the day.
One small mistake could cause a big problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of the areas where I've made errors and gone back and correct them, and I still do it to this day, is on those bigger jobs where maybe it's like, a new complex that's being put up, is the walk time with like plants.
Right.
You may not be able to, or like the travel time, like you put them in the bucket of a skid or you put them on a pallet, but the amount of times you have to go back and forth, and again,
Right.
you're not talking 100 plants, you're talking thousands of plants
Right.
where and trees, and you're going back and forth. Like you literally could have an operator just do that for a week. And I always forget to tally that in.
Right. I mean, yeah, you got to have that time. Now you tally in, like, when you get a bunch of trees like that, do you have them delivered or you go pick them up and do you tally that in?
No, delivered.
Okay.
It's too much. I don't have a truck like that to
Right.
pick them up. That's just way too much.
So now, like, let's say if you're getting like say 100 plants, would you go pick them up yourself or under 100?
Like 100 perennials, I could go pick up. Yeah, no problem.
Okay. So do you tally that into, like, when you're pricing? Do you tally in the drive time to get all the plants and bring them back?
Yep, always delivery and all that stuff on every quote. So
Okay. And you put it
well,
down as
regardless if I'm picking up or not, and that goes with residential. There's always a delivery charge, whether I'm getting it or not.
Okay. Now, do you recommend everybody does that? Because I think a lot of people don't do that, is put down like delivery of materials.
Yeah, separated, because it's the difference of someone thinking that you're 400 or 500 bucks more expensive
Right.
than the next
And
guy.
right. I mean, if you have it listed in there, maybe it makes that customer like look at the other quote and say, why are they not, charging me for delivery? How are they getting the plants? Where are they coming up with them? That's the next thing, so yeah. So
Or you get the company that quotes the plants for a certain price,
right.
and then throw in the delivery fees, and the customer's like, what the hell? Like, I didn't expect to pay this much on all this,
Oh yeah. I have a funny story to say. Like literally, I had one customer. Me and another company bid on a job. Okay, and mine ended up being like $300 more. Okay, and so they went with the cheaper company because it was a lot cheaper. So literally, I came back out because I had to do something else for them later down the road, and was pruning some of their other bushes and the trees in the back, which I got that because they didn't want to touch the trees and the bushes. So I come back after they all installed everything, and literally everything was like little, like I was putting boxwoods in and they were like 2 foot tall, and they put in like literally 8-inch boxwoods, and I'm like, wow, that's a good $300 value you got there. And they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just happened to have one boxwood in my truck at that time because I was delivering to somebody else, and I was like, see this boxwood in my truck? I said, literally, I was going to put 10 of them there, and you just got 10 that are like not even half the size of that. Like you probably got ripped totally price wise on everything, but you went with the cheaper price. So I think, sometimes you got to put in your quotes. I like to put in my quotes what the size is, like gallon wise, and like the height of it, because then you kind of be able to show the customer like what you're actually installing, instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to put boxwoods in and they're 20, 25 bucks, 30 bucks, or whatever it is. So,
Yeah, compare
Josh,
apples to apples. Yeah.
They got the Timo version of boxwoods.
Yeah, they got boxwoods, and it was just funny because I was just like, wow.
Well, dude, the problem is like you go over to like most supermarkets, and what you're getting in the nurseries is proven winners with like the hydrangeas and the rose bushes, and you're seeing the same thing for cheaper than what you're getting at the fucking nurseries now.
Yeah,
it's kind of like you buy something on eBay like for cheap, and you realize that the shipping costs $25 instead, and you're like, crap,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I should say too, I just a heads up, just to go back on the shipping, I mark up the delivery too as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I don't. You have.
I make money on all that.
Yeah, you have to. Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. Definitely.
Delivery and disposal are two areas when you're working on projects that you could usually make, a few $100, and it also protects you too if something happens with the delivery company, and you got to get it yourself, or you got to hire someone to go get it for you.
Yeah, I agree on that. I mean, I think disposal should definitely be in there, especially if you're, doing a pruning job, or if you're hauling out, excess mulch. You got to put it in there. Even if you're doing removal, put the disposal fee in there, because even if you're not paying for the disposal fee, you still got to haul it somewhere to put it somewhere. So, that's still that drive time that you're using to drive it and dispose of it.
Hey, $50 to $100 a truckload, depending on what you get rid of, plus, a guy or two going to the shop to dump it out, or the recycling yard, $25 a guy, $50. That's $100 right there, $150. It adds up throughout the season when you're doing stuff.
Oh yeah, it continuously adds up. I mean, especially, I've been at some big pruning jobs where it's a couple trailer full. So if you're not charging, enough for each disposal fee, like it adds up real quick. And then you're like, oh, okay, I just spent an hour and a half dumping, plus, the fee, that maybe I didn't put in that, because I didn't realize that I was going to cut that much, so
yeah.
You definitely got to make sure that you're putting in the right amount when you're putting that in there. So,
So there was when I used to work in Northborough when I was a kid, there was a guy that owned like some kind of construction company or whatever. So he got a job where he was paid to move this huge boulder out of somebody's house. So he dug it up, whatever, and got it, and he moved it out of there. Down the street, he ended up convincing one of the neighbors to buy the boulder as like a like a focal point for his yard, and the guy bought it. So he got paid double. He got paid for removing the boulder and then sold it right down the street. It's crazy.
That's the best way to do it, really. I mean, if you can get paid to dispose of it, I mean, why not? I mean, it's the best way to do it. I mean, I try to do that when we pull out stone jobs, try to find somebody that wants that stone, and hopefully, get as much stone out of it and give it to them. So, I mean,
squeeze as much juice out of the lemon as you can.
Yeah. I mean, pulling a bush out of a yard and trying to resell it to somebody else, I think that's kind of just pushing it if you're doing that, because who knows if that bush is going to keep growing. But, I mean, you could try. You definitely could try, but I don't, I can't guarantee that it'll continue to grow. So, but Josh, have you moved many trees like in the last couple of years? Because I've been asked to move trees.
More pre-COVID.
Okay.
I did transplants. Maybe a handful in the last few years, not a lot.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've been asked to move a bunch, and a lot of times I'm just like, yeah, no, I can't guarantee that it's going to live. So I'd rather not transplant it from, one part of your yard to another, or, even 10 feet down in a bed. Like I can't guarantee it. So,
Well, that's the great thing about that. It's you can't guarantee it. You don't know how they're going to water. So you write it up, you get paid for it. If it dies, it's on them.
Right.
Like all you're going to do, you put the right root powders, the right fertilizer, I mean, there's online tutorials that you go to. Like a lot of the times, if we're not sure, like I'm not a botanist or a horticulturist. So like when we used to do the transplants, more of them, we would call the nursery with a picture of the plant. We would text it over to the head greenkeeper, and ask like, what's the proper way to do this for this specific species, and get step by step, and whatever additives we needed for it. And luckily nothing died on us during our transplant. So
that's a good thing then. I mean, as long as nothing died and you got it transplanted, that's a good thing. I mean, I always think that sometimes is hard to do. So, bushes might be a little bit easy, especially if they're not that old, but trees I'm kind of always leery about trees. I mean, I had one that we planted and it was a year later and they wanted us to move it. And I said, I'll try, but we had already had a bag on it for a year. So we just kept the bag on for another year and it was no problem, so it was kind of,
I always found it really cool. Those tree companies that, the big trees that have like the spares, they like go in and just like dig and take out in one shot. Like that's just really cool.
Oh yeah. They're awesome. So I got a barky dog today. So
I got a Poland dog.
Yeah.
That's why I'm running out of breath. This guy's walking me, dragging me down the street. Huh?
Yeah.
You still on your dog walk?
Yeah, I mean, it takes me about an hour.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm up by Worcester State right now.
Well, turn back around.
Yeah.
I'm doing your jogging route.
Well, that hasn't been my jogging route in a long time.
Well, your old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to get back at it.
I do. Start with the water, We get to start with water again.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Start with the water. All right, guys. Well, it's been a good talk this week. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to throw on there before we head out tonight?
Bring on the spring.
Bring on the spring.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go spring. Let's hurry up and change. And let's get back into the warm weather and get back at it. So definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you all for watching, listening, and continue to listen. Drop us some comments. Let us know how it's going. If you need anything, thanks to our sponsors. Josh loves these sponsors. Pro Parts Direct, where you can get parts. Yeah. I got a funny story to tell you that in a little bit about Pro Parts Direct, Josh. And then also Cujo Yardware. Thank you guys for watching us and supporting us. But that's all I got for this week. So